And with KinShun Gaming, got another video for you guys. This time a class-specific guide for you pertaining to the soldier class. So Unison League's been out for about a month or so now, and there hasn't been any information, or there hasn't been any websites out there about Unison League, specifically with class guides. I haven't found anything with the soldier class. So today I wanted to give you my take on what the role of a soldier should be, and I'm going to kind of explain the three classes, skill classes that I use for the soldier. So I'm going to start off with explaining each of the abilities of the soldier. So you got it. Let's see. So you got these basic ability: defense stance, knight's devotion, heavy guard, sword clash, smash, and life up. So starting with smash. Smash is the soldier's DPS skill, and what it does is it damages one enemy with physical damage and kind of adds threat to yourself, so that monsters would target you more. And there's three different levels of smash. There's smash, there's hard smash, and finally there's fateful smash. And the only difference between the three of them are the three different damage output it does. Fateful smash being the most damaging skill of the three. And if you were to learn all the passives of the soldier class while equipping a sword, then you actually added additional 20% onto smash. So this was the smash skill is something I would use for the soldier class because that's your main DPS skill. And the second skill to follow up with smash is called sword clash. Sword clash is a attack skill, although not as strong as the smash skill. The main effect of the sword clash is that it is able to reduce the enemy's attack by 10% for 40 seconds. This is very, very useful when you're attacking bosses. Any enemies that are able to team wipe or kill a player instantly with just one attack. And this effect stacks up to 80%. For each sword clash you do within the 40-second interval. So this is a very, very useful skill. And also there is a combo effect. If you use this skill right after you use the smash skill, you are actually able to increase the attack reduction by 20%. And so each attack minus 20% attack for the enemy. That is a very, very useful skill, and that's something I've been using as a tank for a while. Very great support skill. It does a lot of damage too. And there's three different levels of sword clash. There's sword clash, there's brave clash, and I think finally you have the deadly clash. Each of them adds 10% more ability power to each of the skills. It doesn't really affect the amount of percent reduction for the enemy's attack. So that's the second skill. All the other skills, you have defense stance, which increases ability power while sacrificing defense power. There's knight's devotion and heavy guard. Heavy guard adds defense to one ally and the ally next to one space adjacent to whichever ally you target. And this is good if you are a support tank. And there's three different levels of the heavy guard. Heavy guard, there's Phalanx, which actually increases defense for everybody, all 5 allies that you have. And finally Holy Guard, which actually increases defense of 20% for 60 seconds. That's really good if you're playing pure support tank. Next we have the Knight's Devotion, with the second level being Knight's Loyalty right here. So what that is a defense skill, where it's a status that you cast on your allies, that you're able to take a certain percent of damage from your allies as your own. So for example, if you cast Knight's Devotion right here for 30 seconds, 20% of the damage taken from the ally will be taken by you. So that's actually very useful, because if the enemy, or if you're in a guild battle, you had a cleric that's been targeted by the enemy, by all 5 of the enemy, it will kill the cleric in about 2 seconds. But if you're able to cast Knight's Devotion or Knight's Loyalty, which takes 40% of the damage taken by the ally, the cleric might survive and you take the hit instead. So it's a very good skill that takes damage from your allies onto yourself. And finally, this is the most critical skill for a paladin or soldier, is the life up. You're able to increase your maximum HP for 30 seconds, 30% for 90 seconds, up to a maximum of actually 60% for 90 seconds. So this is good for any class that you play. Having max HP is very useful, gives you more life, and it's an actual heal for you, because the amount of HP that you have actually goes up along with your max HP bar. So the only downside of this is that it takes an ability slot, and also it takes 90 seconds for it to recover. So if you happen to be stunned or confused, and once you use it, whether it has an effect or not, you have to wait another 60 seconds for it to cool down. So that's about it for the descriptions for each of the skills. So the 3 different tanks that I suggested to the left side of the video here are the DPS tank, the hybrid tank, and the pure tank. So as you can see, I'm going to explain my rationale for choosing the skill types for each type of tank. So for the DPS tank, what you have here is the regular attack, fated smash, sword clash, and then you have the, let's see, attack stance right here, and heaven's breath. So attack stance is actually from the Lancer line, if you happen to learn its first skill. And what attack stance does, it increases the ability power damage by 20%, and it decreases damage, your defense, or actually increases your ability power damage by 25%. So you're taking more damage, but you're dealing more damage. This is good for a DPS tank, and what you do is your basic role as a DPS tank is to attract the attention of the enemy while dealing the most damage. So that's why you have these 5 skills here: regular attack, fated smash to increase your threat so the enemies would attack you more, and sword clash as your 3rd skill. Now, I chose sword clash over the other skill, the deadly clash, the 3rd tier of this skill set, because sword clash in itself doesn't do much damage. You're not really using it for damage. I mean, you could, but you're trading off heavily the cost, number 1, and also the cooldown time. You're going to be running out of cost a lot if you're casting Fateful Smash and Deadly Clash back to back. And so really, I would suggest using Sword Clash instead, the 1st tier of that skill, because you're really getting it for the added 20% attack reduction. So use this Fateful Smash as your main DPS skill while decreasing the attack 20% using Sword Clash for the effect only. You'll be doing a lot of damage with Fateful Smash, so it doesn't really matter. And of course, always have Heaven's Breath, because that increases your survivability. Alright, moving on to the hybrid tank. And the only difference between the hybrid tank versus the DPS tank is the fact that you use Knight's Loyalty as one of your skills. what that does is actually take what I explained before. It takes the damage of one ally onto your own HP bar, and so you're actively absorbing the HP, the damage that's taken from your allies. For example, a cleric or another DPS character like a lancer or a mage, since they're pretty squishy and they have really low defense generally. So this allows you to play as the roles of tank by absorbing damage, decreasing the attack while dealing damage at the same time. So that's the role of that's what I would use as a hybrid tank. And finally, the pure tank support line. The only skill I would change is the Holy Guard instead of the Sword Clash, and they're really interchangeable. What this does, it grants the entire party plus 20% defense. So you're playing really more of a defensive support class in this case, because you're dealing damage while bringing the attention of the enemy actively with Fateful Smash, using Holy Guard to increase the defense of your allies while actively absorbing damage at the same time. And of course, you always want Heaven's Breath to ensure your survivability in the party. So those are the 3 different skill sets that I would suggest when playing a soldier. Now let me say this first and foremost. If you want to play a DPS class, I would not use a soldier at first. Why? Because there is so much more potential with the other classes. For the Lancer, the Mage, and the Ranger. Those guys have passives that increases your attack per weapons that you would be using for each respective class, and they're generally geared towards dealing damage. The only reason I would suggest playing a soldier for DPS is because you are actively surviving, taking the hits for your teammate while dealing damage at the same time. So you won't be dealing the most damage with this setup, but you'll be dealing a decent amount of damage for the party. So here's my setup. I'm actively switching between soldier and a ranger. So that's why I have the bows equipped. I don't have anything else equipped right now, but what I would suggest is getting spears and swords as your subset weapons, because what you ultimately want is the physical testament skill for each of the weapons that you have, so when you activate them, you're able to deal more damage per Fateful Smash or any other regular attack, normal attack that takes physical damage. And what I have here is actually a armor that actually gives physical testament, so the chance of activating would be much higher when you're dealing activating each skill. So in terms of monsters for a tank class, I would suggest getting fire-based monsters, because they give physical attack stats and physical defense stats. So you can see here, I have 3 different fire-based monsters, and I have a green-based monster and a non-elemental monster. That's just there for raids in case I want to use haste with the other party members. As you can see, it only takes 2 costs, so it's just there because I need it. So that's pretty much it. And also, one thing I've noticed when playing the soldier class, and I don't know if you noticed this too, you actually have 2 types of damage absorbing skill. You have Knight's Devotion and you have Knight's Loyalty. And part of the question is, can you use both at the same time? The answer is yes. You're able to cast Knight's Devotion and Knight's Loyalty on 2 different characters. So 2 party members of the team you are able to absorb damage from. And that's pretty useful, but the only issue is if you take too much damage, you might die too fast. And also, it takes quite a bit of cost to keep these up. For example, this one takes 15 cost and this one takes 12 cost. And it only lasts for 30 seconds. So, and every 25 seconds you have to recast it. So it is very cost heavy, but it's doable. I've tried it once. It isn't very effective unless that's the only thing you're doing. So I wouldn't recommend it, but it's definitely something that you can do. Well, that's it. And again, these 3 skill sets that I used and suggested, they're just how I think you should play the soldier class. You can do whatever. You can actually include mage skills, cleric skills as a subset of the soldier class. So there's lots of good variety. For me, I just like to be able to do some damage while being able to support my teammates at the same time. So my suggestion of the 3 different skill sets that I would use the hybrid tank. But of course, different situations can call for a pure DPS tank or a pure support tank. I've also included a video of some gameplay vids of me playing as a hybrid tank. So you guys enjoy. So what I'm doing here is I'm able to do a lot of damage with this Faithful Smash. And I have, let's see, 2 mages and 1 lancer. And another person as well. It's a pretty solid party, so I don't think I'll be maybe needing actual support. But I'm going to show you a little bit how I would play using the hybrid tank. So the mage of the party would have the lowest defense and would probably take the most hits. I'd be using Knight's Loyalty on her, just so that she wouldn't die as fast as other people. Here's Heaven's Breath, maximize my HP, Drive Survive. And then Faithful Smash, I'll use my main DPS skill. Really strong party, so I can really just go all out with attacks here. You can see I'm already at a cost, so gotta be using my skills very conservatively. But even with this setup, I'm able to do about 13 to 15k damage. With a gear score of 63k. That's pretty decent. I'm going to use a full Unison here. Alright. To be honest, we don't really need to use the Unison here to defeat this little guy. But I guess they were scared, so we wanted to activate Unison to make sure it's dead. So yeah. Well, alright guys, thanks for watching the video. If you liked the video, please comment, subscribe down the bottom. Until next time, see you later.